this should be pretty uneventful. I'm just sticking this bit of wood in the ground so that the hose thing can be mounted on it so that I can actually use it, because this morning it was so cold the car's frosted over and we had to get buckets of water. Most places online showing you how to do something like this will say that you need to like concrete it in and probably dig deeper and probably have something a little bit taller. Just doing that made me puffed, so I'm not going to do any further on that. This will last for as long as it lasts, and then at some point I'm sure I'll have to redo this, in which case I will get a longer pole to shove it in deeper into the ground and maybe have this slightly higher. It just depends on what I find on the side of the road. That's painful. It's mail time. And this camera has suddenly stopped recording, so I don't think I got any bit of that. Anyway, I've opened the package and I've got another smart plug. Now, it says it's Zigbee, and the last one said it was Zigbee, but the last one turned out to be Wi-Fi. So hopefully this one is actually a Zigbee smart plug and not just a Wi-Fi one in the wrong box. You know what? I think this one's worse than the Wi-Fi one, because this one doesn't work at all. Doesn't matter what I do, hold the button down. Let's try it in a different... No, of course that's not going to change anything. I can't even... Oh. It's not switched on at the wall. Oh no, that's embarrassing, because look, it's connected straight away. It couldn't have connected any faster. Moving on then. The other thing I got is actually protruding out of the packet. Here, let me just carefully pull this out and see if you can recognize what is currently sticking out of the packet. My gosh, that could have been a bit dangerous. And okay, I see why it's sticking out of the packet, and that's because the little container of them has opened and is floating around a bit in there. All right. Oh, okay, a whole lot more hanging out in here as well. Is this supposed to... okay, so that is meant to be storage for spares, and here's the one that I use. Here we go. So, I got one of these because my old Stanley knife, I lost it during the move, and I don't know where it went. So I've got this instead. Let's see, so it looks like some spares go in here. Do they go this way? It looks like they go that way. Click it closed, and there we go. You got quite the weapon here. Flip that out and start stabbing people. Okay, obviously don't do that. But yeah, so now I've finally got another one of these sharp cutting things that are quite dangerous, especially in transit when it shows up with all the blades out. Here in the corner of my room, I have this computer, which I call my server. It's a file server, which primarily deals with files as well as Plex. So it's got some files that are backed up, and Plex is running. Now, the issue with it is that it's on all the time, doing nothing. Sitting there, doing nothing. No torrenting, no processing, no transcoding, no transfers or anything like that. I only need it
usually in the afternoon after work when I'm actually going to watch it. But turning it off all the time does mean that I'm going to have to come in here and turn it on. Yes, I could use Wake on LAN, but as some people that use it may know, it is not always reliable. Sometimes things happen which causes a complete shutdown where it will not wake on LAN because it is literally shut down. So I'm going to build my own solution with this little microcontroller, and I'll flash it with ESP Home to allow me to remotely trigger the power button on my PC with a simple transistor. This will be connected via Wi-Fi to Home Assistant so that I can trigger it essentially from anywhere in the world to give me access to my server, allowing me to start processes and even establish a remote desktop connection via other software, of course. Now you may be thinking, the computer's going to be off. How am I going to power this microcontroller? Well, how else is the computer powered? It needs to be triggered somehow from somewhere. So if we look here on this connection here that goes to the computer, it supplies it with 3.3 volts, 5 volts, and 12 volts, as well as ground, of course. But there's a couple extra wires there. You see, we've got this purple wire and this grey wire. Now the purple wire, that supplies 5 volts. As soon as you plug this power supply into the wall, it is outputting 5 volts on that wire, so that when you push that power button, it actually does something. Without that little bit of power coming through the purple wire here, nothing's going to happen when you hit that power button. So let's tap in to this purple wire here so that we can continuously power our microcontroller. Then the microcontroller, which is running on Wi-Fi and communicating with my Home Assistant server, is able to bridge that connection with the power button and turn the computer on, as well as getting the power button LED light to indicate that it has in fact turned on. With the goal set out, I'll be using the test circuit I just made and connecting it to the computer with some temporary connections. Initially, one of the cables has come off and made it difficult for me to see that it wasn't actually working properly, but fixing that up, making the cable connect properly and able to supply it with power, I'm able to see that the circuit is working perfectly. And then it's on to making a permanent installation. Now, this isn't something that I would recommend anyone do. In fact, this isn't something I would really usually do. But I'm going to install this microcontroller directly onto the motherboard so that it will always be connected to this motherboard and I won't have to worry about any loose cables coming disconnected. Soldering it all into place and adding a little bit of hot glue at the end, this controller is ready to trigger this computer whenever I actually need it to be turned on. And we'll put it back in its place and let the computer sit there forevermore, never being touched again. And there we go. It's as if I did nothing. It's all up and running exactly how it was, and I'm able to connect to it in the normal ways using Rust Desktop to remote into it to see what it's doing, and of course using Home Assistant to monitor and see what's going on in the server itself. So now I can actually turn it on wherever and whenever and not have to worry about how it's been turned off. So even after a power cut, I can power it on. Mailtime. This was a product of necessity because my other one broke, unfortunately. So I had to order a new. Smart kettle. In case you couldn't read that. So let's have a quick look. So as we can see here, this is the Smarter Home, trademarked, Smart Kettle by Kogan, which is basically just a whole lot of rebranded stuff from Tuya. So the same smart home stuff that I guess most of the world works on. Another brand name of that is like
Grid Connect, Smart Life. What's the crappy stuff they sell at Kmart? Anyway, it's just another same brand. Oh, and what's the other one? Gorilla. That's another brand of it. Although they lock down some of their stuff so that you can only use their app. Anyway, inside here we have the most important part, the kettle itself. Next to that is the base for the kettle. I'm guessing this is where all the real electronics are. There's a small instruction manual here telling you how to push a button and turn the kettle on, but I'm not that interested in that. I'm mostly interested in the kettle itself. As you can see on both sides, there is a little level indicator indicating where your max 1.7 litres can reach up to. On the inside, that's not a button. That's the button. The button's over here to open the lid. Look at that. Nice and shiny. Nice and new. And you can see here we've got, let's see, like a large ground. We've got a middle pin. Then we've got a 1, 2, 3 others. So I'm guessing there's probably a light in here. Probably a blue light in here somewhere. Though I can't see it yet. But then there's also other pins. Maybe these three pins are for the temperature sensor. It depends what kind of temperature sensor they're using, if it's a 3-pin model or if it's just a simple 2-pin model. Here's the base plate, sits on there quite easily. We've got the power button over here, which turns it off and on, and a boil button. I'm guessing this just boils it. And then here's the hold temperatures. And I think it said it will hold that temperature for 15 minutes, so you can run off and have a quick poo. Anyway, the cable underneath is being rolled up a couple of times, so you do have a decent amount of cable to stick out through this little gap here. And the plug end has one of these fun little things on it, of course. Here's the old smart home kettle. As you can see here, the bottom bit is coming out, so when you pour and it's full of water, this part sticks out. You can see there's a few wires there. Yeah, that's all the wires there. With this one, it's got a temperature readout, and you push that button and it turns the kettle on. Push it again, turns it off. This is for the hold temperature thing, but I've never gotten it to work reliably before, so I don't know if it's real. Just unplug it. You are no longer useful here. Always got to give the kettle a bit of a rinse. Okay, that's a keep warm option. Okay, so this is the keep warm option, and then that's whatever temperature you set it at. So this must be just go boil. So we can see here on my phone it says it is heating, and it is currently at 15 degrees. Well, the water seems hot, and I guess that was a reasonable amount of time. My biggest issue with this is it doesn't have a digital readout to tell you what the current temperature of it is. Now, I should have been looking for that when I ordered it, but admittedly, I purchased this too quickly and didn't notice that, once I found that my other kettle was damaged and broken. And knowing the temperature can be very, very handy and useful, especially for situations where the thing you're making requires a specific temperature. Now, I know I could check the app, but I hate products that force you to use the app to use its features. You should be able to use it entirely without ever pulling your phone out, as well as being able to use it entirely on your phone. But that's my bad. That's my mistake. So, yeah.
It's a good little kettle. Pretty good day. Got a car tyre over there. Got a little bread pellet thing there or something. Then I got my bicycle down in there.
The man may not be on the top of his form, but he can still make himself useful.
To make sure this video actually gets out and doesn't get stuck at the building phase. Here it is, working, just blue tacked here on the wall so that you know what the temperature of this kettle is, since of course it doesn't have a screen of its own. The next step of this is I'm thinking I might put a little multi-board here on the side of this cupboard, and I'll add this just above it with 3 buttons there. The 2 main temperatures we use, and I guess an auxiliary button, because I haven't quite decided what that button will do. Maybe it'll cycle through a couple screens on this to show more information. But at this stage, it's just showing the temperature of the new kettle. Oh shit! Mail time! Bit of a larger package. Today, I've got a 3 by 4.5 meter gazebo. Do not open by craft knife. Well, that's okay. This is a Stanley knife. Ooh. There we go. Big old frame. I probably should have opened this outside. It's a little bit bigger than I expected. I guess the one that we've got at work is a 2 by 3, where this is a 3 by 4.5, which, holy heck, slightly harder to put up than I thought. I see why it says that you need 2 people in order to set this up. I'm not going to put all the walls on it, because that's a whole lot of effort. And I can see that there's this Velcro stuff along here, which is just fine. But heck, this is great. It's an alright height. I do have 1, 2, 3 more holes to go, so I can make it at least more than my hand taller. So, yeah, there we go. Look at that. Got a whole gazebo. Now to pack it all down again. So I finally got my hands on an Evolve GTR, the second most wanted electric skateboard. Of course, the first would be the Hades from the same company, Evolve, which is just that little bit more powerful than this. But I got the second hand on Facebook Marketplace for $800. Usually they're going brand new for $2,200 or something like that. And man, this thing absolutely rips. Still getting used to the controls.
Useful. Useful.